how we can find the next round of breakouts, the next breakout that's coming on up, the next supernova. Because how many people here, raise your hand, would be excited if you were able to buy in on LLL at $2 and be able to make money all the way up to $7? Who here would be excited if they could get the entry of $2 on NSN or maybe even underneath it? So the big question is how? How do I get that entry? How do I get the supernova entry before everyone else? Well, there's a couple key components here. And the key components is, number one, you got to be willing to wake up. Because if you want the best entry doesn't happen at 2:30 in the afternoon. The best entry doesn't happen at 9:30 at the start of the day. The best entry actually happens at the start of pre-market, whenever these press releases come on out. To be a supernova master, we'll call it, right? Supernova master, you have to be a press release master. And what does that mean? That means knowing, of course, what time, when, and how to find hot press releases. Let's break down the last 2 days. NRSN and LLL. Yesterday, NRSN went on a 400% spike. Stock started out around $1.50 and spiked all the way up to $8.20. Now, when we take a look over on NRSN, what speaks out to us? There's a few different things. Number one, we can tell that NRSN, this is a stock that has massive amounts of volume. To know that a stock has a massive amounts of volume, it's not about a certain number. Everyone says, Deck, is 100 million in volume a lot? Is 20 million in volume a lot? It's about comparing the average volume, right? It's about comparing the average volume to the current volume. If the average volume is 3.3 million and the current volume is 20.9 million, obviously we know there's a lot of attention behind this play. There's a lot of attention towards this play. If we have upwards of 7 times its average volume, well, that's bringing in some sort of hype. That's bringing in some sort of movement. That's bringing in a big reason of why. Why is the stock up? So what happened with NRSN yesterday? Why was there massive amounts of volume? Why was there massive amounts of attention? And it all came from this press release. NRSN receives FDA clearance. Let's just think about this. We read this entire press release. It says, Neurosense Therapeutics receives FDA clearance of IND for Prime C for the treatment of ALS. Now, when I read it like that, doesn't it become very confusing? It makes us say to ourselves, Deck, I don't know what that means. I have no idea what the treatment of ALS and Prime C is. Well, as we know, all we need to study, team, day after day is our keywords. If we just study our hot keyword list, we are going to be able to make a lot of money. So let me bring this on up. Head on over towards my pictures, and I'm just going to grab this hot keyword list. And I want every single person to study this list. This list is going to teach you how to find the best press release right away. Study the 2-star words, the 3-star words, the 4-star words, and of course be aware of the 1-star words. Because when we go through this, if we see any of these words in the title of the press release, we know we're going to start seeing some hype and volume. There's 2 or 3 things that really make a stock turn into a supernova. Number one is going to be volume. Volume is going to be the amount of shares being traded. You know, if we start flooding in shares, everyone's buying and selling and buying and shorting and covering and selling and buying and all these different ways, of course, getting in on the stock, we obviously have movement. If a stock has movement, you can profit off of it. And enough if that movement is all towards the buy side or all towards the sell side, you can make massive amounts of money. So volume is going to be one of the best ways to know a stock is going to break out. But what brings in volume? Brings in volume is going to be the news behind it. What brought in, let's say, tons of people to go ahead and buy brand new Buccaneer season tickets? Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hey, Tom Brady is paying for another season. Hey, what is going to make people, let's say, go to this festival? Oh, maybe Justin Bieber or Beyonce is performing at this festival, right? The news is going to bring in people to purchase or purchase shares or buy tickets, you should say. Right? What's going to make traders and investors buy in on a certain company? It depends on what the news is. Stocks usually don't spike very well without having some sort of great news. So let's take a look at these 2-star words. 2-star words are going to be positive or phase 2, receives, FDA, approval, benefits, beneficial, fast track, breakout, acquires, acquisition, expand or expansion, contract, completes, promising, achieves, achievement, launches. Look at these 3-star words. Phase 3, positive, top of the line, significant, demonstrates, treatment, drug trials, agreement, cancer, partnership, collaboration, improvement, successful, billionaire, Carl Icahn, increase, awarded, primary. You know, these are all great big keywords. We don't need to know anything about Prime C ALS. Team, I don't know anything about Prime C ALS. But what I will tell you is the moment I see receives FDA clearance, I know right away that's going to be bringing in a lot of hype. I know right away that's going to be bringing in a lot of volume because we are receiving. What are we receiving? Are we receiving a large sum of money? Are we receiving an award? We take a look over on the 2-star words and we can see right away, hey, when you receive something, that's always very good. Your company's growing. And in this case, what are we receiving? FDA, okay, FDA, Food Drug Administration, and we also have clearance. Okay, so clearance allowing us to be able to go ahead and work on our Prime C treatment of ALS. So this stock basically got the green light from the FDA, and that's what brought in the hype. So we talked about two different things already. We talked about volume. Volume is going to be how many shares are traded. If we have massive amounts of shares traded, that's going to be the stock's movement. The volume is going to be the stock's movement. The news is going to be the reason on why that stock can move. Now, the big thing is how fast can that stock move? And that's going to be how many shares are available to trade. If we only have a few shares available to trade and we have massive amounts of people wanting to trade those shares because of the press release that just came out, well, guess what? That's where our stock can go crazy. In this case, you could see this in the float. The float are the shares available to trade. Those are the shares available for the public, you and I, that we can go ahead and trade. So if we have 4.3 million shares available and we have, let's say, 20 million shares going through, that means within these 4 million shares, people are buying them and selling them and covering them and buying them. And everyone's fighting for these 4 million shares. If you want to buy a house, houses are very expensive. Because there's a lot of people who want to buy a house and only a few houses available. It's supply and demand. When you have a very low supply and a very high demand, expect prices to increase. If we have at this time a very low supply of shares available and we have a press release that says, hey, the FDA is giving us clearance and everyone starts rushing into it, the shares of this stock are going to be more expensive, which is why NRSN has gone on this huge spike, huge rip, huge run. Remember, this was yesterday. So when we take a look over on NRSN, NRSN went on this massive spike all the way on up. But the thing is, if you want to nail NRSN, what was the first initial point we talked about this morning? NRSN, the press release, guess what time this came out? That came out at 8:30 in the morning. You can trade in pre-market. You can trade from 4 in the morning all the way up till 9:30. Some new traders believe that you can only trade starting at 9:30. You can start trading at 4 in the morning and you can trade all the way to 8 o'clock at night. You just have to use a special setting in your broker. You would have to use an ARCA setting, which is going to allow you to trade from 4 a.m. all the way up to 8 o'clock. Or you can use EXT if you guys use TD Ameritrade, which stands for extended hours. And you guys just have to do limit orders. So the thing is, NRSN, this press release, when we take a look at this stock, opened up at 8:30 in the morning. Imagine if you're awake at 8:30 in the morning. If you're awake at 8:30 in the morning, you see this press release come on out, you could jump in right away. And the moment you jump in on NRSN, guess what? The stock goes from $1 and spikes all the way up towards $7. The stock goes from $1 and spikes all the way up to $8. You don't got to wait until the stock goes up to $4. You don't got to wait until it goes up to $5 just to end up buying at the top. The first come, first serve. Stock trading is like a buffet line. If you can get in before everyone else, you are going to have food. If you're the last person to show up to the cafeteria, there may not be anything available. I always think of that movie, Home Alone. You guys ever see that movie? Where basically he has a family, and the whole entire family is like 15 people. He has his aunt and his uncles, and there's like 10 kids. Home Alone, everyone's seen that movie for Christmas, and in the very beginning, they get pizza. And Kevin comes down late, and there's no more plain pizza left. And he gets very mad at his older brother, Buzz. And the reason why he's so mad is because there's no plain pizza left, right? Everyone already ate it. Same exact thing with stock trading. If you're the last one to come down the stairs, if you're the last one to come get your pizza at your family dinner and there's nothing left, hey, your family already ate it. Stock traders already pushed the price all the way up to the top. Early come, early serve, right? You are going to get the best price if you're willing to wake up early. So NRSN, this stock absolutely exploded because we study our hot keywords. Let's see what happened today. Let's take a look over on LLL. When did this stock open? What happened with this play today? LLL, this stock went from $2 and was able to spike all the way up towards around $7 today. All right, so what happened on LLL? Now, this one's a little bit interesting because this stock actually didn't come out with a press release at 7 or 7:30 or 8 or 8:30. This one actually came out with a little bit of a press release later on in the morning. So when we take a look at LLL, what we see 5 hours ago, and it says LLL came out with a press release at 9:36 a.m. Now, this is not no excuse. Everyone's awake at this point. The stock market has opened on up already. And we could see JX Lux Venture signs blockbuster USD $60 million 5X 2020 revenue sales agreement. What's our big press release word here? When I read this very quickly, it sounds confusing. It says JX Lux Venture signs blockbuster USD 60 million 5X 2020 revenue sales agreement. You might say, Deck, I have no idea what in the world this is talking about. Well, let's use our keyword chart. Keyword chart, US dollar 60 million. $60 million. Well, any large sum of money is always going to grab investors' attention. Let's think about it, guys. Investors, what do we want? We want money. Investors, we want to make money. We want to make cash. That's why we're here. We want to be able to get rich. We want to be able to grow our investments. We want to be able to have a return. When we see large sums of money, it always attracts our attention. Then what else do we have here? We have an agreement. So we have an agreement to get $60 million, which is going to be 5 times more than our 2020 revenue. The word agreement is going to be a 3-star word. And we look at the word agreement right here, and guess what happens? Guess what happens on this play? LLL, get ready, boom. LLL goes on that very big spike, very big run, very big climb. Let's think about our other points that we talked about. Let's think about how the stock reacts right here. When we have LLL, we have a very solid press release. We see our keywords. Now what's the next step? We see our keywords, and we're going to say to ourselves, is there a low supply? Because we know that press release is going to bring in high demand. Is there a low supply of shares? Now, if we look right here, we can see the float. Float is 1.7 million. Guys, this is the even lower float than yesterday. 1 million in float. That means we're going to have all this volume fighting over 1.7 million shares available. How much volume is fighting over 1.7 million shares? Well, let's take a look at this point. On a normal day, 43,000 shares are traded, which is why the stock doesn't really move too much. 43,000 shares out of the 1 million are traded. Today, we have 82 million shares traded over the normal 43,000. 82 million shares traded fighting for that 1 million. And guess what? As someone buys it, the stock and sells it, it goes up a little higher and goes up a little higher and goes up a little higher. Everyone is fighting for these shares. And if it's in high demand, it's in high demand because of this press release. People are going to keep buying it and selling it and buying it and selling it and trying to make money off of it. That's what it is. You guys, know about NFTs? NFTs, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Everyone knows those pictures of monkeys, right? Those pictures of monkeys that everyone buys, and essentially they hold it and try to sell it. Not many people, and you might be one of them, but not many people are buying NFTs because they like the utility of it, right? It's like, cool, I buy this picture of a monkey, I get to be in a Discord. I buy this picture of a monkey, I get to, post it as my Instagram picture. Right? I buy this picture of a monkey. I have special access to, again, the Bored Ape Yacht Club website. It's like, at the end of the day, is that really that great? Like, it's like people are always talking about the utility of it. And I get it. This is not an NFT lesson. Sometimes there could be something cool, like you get a discount at a restaurant or something. But at the end of the day, 90% of people are probably trying to buy these Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs to flip them later on. You buy one for $300,000, you're hoping to sell it for let's say $500,000 and make a $200,000 profit. If you buy it at $500,000, you're trying to sell it up at $1 million. If you buy it at $1 million, you're trying to sell it at $1.5 million. This is kind of no different. We see that there's a hot press release, which we know people are going to want to buy LLL. So what do? We buy as many shares of LLL as early as possible before the stock starts spiking its way on up. And once we sell our shares at $4, guess what? The person who bought our shares is hoping the stock goes on up even higher so that they can sell their shares at $5.60, which hopes again the stock goes up even higher so someone can sell their shares at $7. And then eventually someone will be stuck holding those shares most likely at $7 as the stock falls all the way back on down. So the thing is, stock trading is almost like a game of flipping shares, just like NFTs. And it's just, you got to think about how it works. It comes down to the fact is, what's going to bring in the hype? The press release brings in the hype. How many shares are available to trade? 1 million shares. How much volume is in on the stock? 82 million. We basically have 80 times our normal amount of shares traded in one day. This is where people are just day trading, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out, getting in, getting out, trying to be able to make that profit. So even before that, we had stock LLL today. Or excuse me, DPRO. DPRO was a stock that actually went on a great rip and run. Now, again, this comes down to first come, first serve. There were traders that lost today on DPRO, and DPRO went from 170 and spiked all the way up to the price of $4. Now, how? How can you lose on DPRO if it's gone from 170 all the way up to the price of $4? Well, because a lot of times traders wait until the stock spikes up to $4 before they get confident enough to buy it. That's a very bad trait to have. The very bad trait to have is waiting for a stock to spike for you to feel confident. Why is it every time you buy a stock, it ends up falling? Because you're buying it at the very top. What's the best way to do this from now on? Well, if we know what the hot keywords are, we know we're going to be able to make money right away. So let's take a look over on DPRO. When we take a look over on DPRO, we're awake, we are ready, and what do we see? We see 8 hours ago. 8 hours ago at the price, at the time of 7:15 a.m. It says DPRO receives order for critical life-saving drones from revived soldiers Ukraine for immediate deployment to Ukraine. So let's read this really quickly. How confusing does this sound? It says, Dragonfly receives order for critical life-saving drones from revived soldiers Ukraine for immediate deployment to Ukraine. Deck, I have no idea what this is even talking about. Well, if we break down our keywords, all we have to look for is what? Two-star word, receives. What are we receiving? We're receiving an order. If you honestly want to stop right here, you can. It says Dragonfly receives an order. Let's just stop right there for a second. You are a company. You are a t-shirt company. Your company is named, let's say, Tees T-shirts. All right, that's your company's name. All right, Tees T-shirt just received an order. All right, great. That's a nice positive press release. Tees T-shirts just received an order. Deck, is it really that easy? Is it really that simple? Well, when you receive an order, guess what? Your company makes business, right? Your company is going to make a profit. When your company makes a profit, investors are happy. When investors are happy, the stock goes up. DPRO receives an order. In all reality, we don't need to read any of this. For critical life-saving drones from revived soldiers Ukraine for immediate deployment to Ukraine, this is a whole bunch of fluff to us. All we have to do is receives an order. Awesome, right? What us receiving an order is going to make the company better. DPRO, what do we see? DPRO came out with this press release. Take a look at the volume. Had 173 million shares traded on it over the average volume of 204,000. So this 173,000 or 173 million shares are fighting out of how many shares? Shares are going to be 31. Now 31 million right here is a little bit bigger. Usually I like to look for anything that's 10 million in float or under. 31 is a little bit larger, not huge, but it is a little bit bigger than what I usually look for. If you saw this press release right when it woke on up or at 7:15, the stock has gone from 160, spiked all the way up to 345, then spiked all the way up towards the end 380. The thing is, team, stock trading, the longer you wait, the better chance you have of losing. The longer you sit upstairs, sit in your room while everyone else is eating, you have a better chance of coming downstairs and there's not being anything left. Has anyone ever done that before? I've done that before. I have a big family. So I would have 7 family members, and I would walk upstairs from downstairs in my room and say, hey, Mom, where's dinner? She said, Sean, I put dinner away. Everyone already ate, right? Everyone already ate. We saved you a little bit if you want some noodles or something along those lines. And I would get frustrated. But whose fault was that? I didn't come upstairs when it was dinner time. I didn't come upstairs when food just came out. If I was the first one in my family's line, guess what? I would be able to grab again the steak and grab the chicken and grab the mashed potatoes. And I would be able to, again, get a little bit of cranberry sauce, and I can pour myself a nice glass of water and some milk, and I could sit down. I could be the first one at my table, and I would be the first one there. I'd have the biggest plate there. I could talk to all my, my family members and have a wonderful dinner. Or I could be the person that shows up when everyone's scraping their plates and finishing up. I could be the person that walks on up and say, man, is there anything left? Is there anything food I can have? My dog has already eaten. Everyone's already eaten. DPRO. Do you want to be the person showing up at, when the stock's all the way up at $4, hoping to make a profit? Do you want to be the person on LLL showing, okay, I'm getting in all the way at 670? Do you want to be the person over on INDO who's buying INDO all the way up at the price of $80? No, you don't want to be that guy. So what's the secret of not chasing? What's the secret of making sure you make a profit? Just wake up early. Watch the press releases. See what stock comes on up. And if you are getting in a play with a hot press release and a low float that we know is a hot keyword that's most likely going to be able to bring in massive amounts of volume and really cause a surge of demand, You guys are going to be able to make the biggest profits. That's what's so cool about stock trading. For anyone that's into NFTs right now, anyone who really likes that NFT game, just flipping them here and there, that's all day trading is. Only we do it every single day on a new, instead of a NFT, we do it on a new stock. We're buying shares and selling shares. We're buying shares that are going to have a high demand, and we're selling them later for a profit. And we do that every single day. That's all it is. Find the stock that has a cause on why people would want to buy it. See that there's a low supply of it, so we buy shares early. Stock goes on a very big spike. We sell our shares. We take our profit. We do it all over the next day. We do that day after day after day after day. Those profits start adding on up. Next thing you know, we turn 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 50,000, 50,000 to 100,000. Last year, I turned 35,000 into 550,000 just by doing this day after day. The easiest way to make money off these massive supernovas is just to get in before everyone else. This way, you're not overthinking it. This way, you're not being the trader that's saying to yourself, oh, am I at the top or not? Now, trust me, I know it's easier said than done. But when you wake up early and you start seeing a stock rip and run and you see a hot press release, you're going to know that probably 90% of people at 7:30 are still sleeping. Because if you guys are on the East Coast and you see a hot press release come out at 7 in the morning, let's say such as DPRO, you look at DPRO and you see a hot press release coming out at 7:15 in the morning with hot keywords right here. You know at 7 in the morning, most likely 90% of East Coast traders aren't awake yet. You probably know West Coast traders where it's 4 in the morning, 95% of them aren't awake yet. Even if you buy the stock at $2, there's a great chance that people are going to wake up after you and probably buy it. And someone else is going to wake up at 8 o'clock and probably buy it. And someone's going to wake up and by the time it's at 9:30, it's all the way up at $3. And by the time the stock opens on up, it's all the way up towards around $3.85. So the earlier you get in, the better chance you have of making money because more people are going to wake up later on, see that play, and then they're going to go ahead and try to buy in, which is a higher price than you. If you are willing to sacrifice sleep for profit, you are going to be able to make money. But the toughest thing about this is what? Most traders don't want to sacrifice sleep for profit. Does anyone here like waking up early? Does anyone here enjoy waking up at 6:30? Does anyone here enjoy waking up at 4 a.m. for you West Coast traders? I don't. I'll be honest with you. I do not like waking up early. When I wake up at 6:30 every single morning, it takes me a second. It takes me a second to roll out of bed. But the reason why I roll out of bed is because if I roll out of bed, jump in that shower, wake myself on up, I could be making a few $1,000s before people even wake up. If I roll out of bed and get myself here, I could make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in a day. You know why it's so easy to just be able to wake up? It's because every single day there's brand new news opportunities. Every single day there's going to be a brand new spike. Hey, if you miss out over on INDO, you miss out on this big time breakout, this massive rip and run. Okay, nail the next one on MXC. If you miss out on MXC, nail the next one over on HUSA. If you miss the next one over on HUSA, nail the next one over on NRSN. If you miss the next one over on NRSN, nail the one over on LLL. So you guys have to ask yourself a very important question right now. Are you going to wake up tomorrow? Are you going to wake up early tomorrow? Are you going to be here at 7 o'clock in the morning? Are you going to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning? Are you going to find that press release that's going to lead to that next supernova? Because if you are, you could be the first one in. Turn a $2,000 account all the way up towards a $5,000 account or $7,000. You'll make $5,000 in the matter of a day. How cool is that? If you had a $2,000 account today, you could have made $5,000. You could have been able to make over 200% return in the day. The average investor tries to make 10% throughout 12 months. That's a joke. To make 10% over 12 months. People who have houses and homes rent out their homes trying to make 10%, throughout the entire year. If you have a $200,000 house that you're renting out, you're trying to make $20,000 in rentals. Right? Imagine having a $2,000 account and you make $7,000 today. How cool is that? And that's the power of being able to wake up. That's the power of knowing these strategies. That's the power of understanding the stock market. So make sure you guys apply this knowledge. Make sure you guys apply this education. It's going to change your game, change your trading. And I can't wait to see you guys make a whole lot of money. You guys got it. So awesome job and awesome